If you've ever wondered how to clean your fuel injectors, take them out and put them back in, we're going to cover that off in this video, guys, so hope you enjoy. Hey guys, Ryan here from Thailand Retro Mods. On today's episode, we're going to be getting the Celica running. It's been running on 2, sometimes 3 cylinders. When I started it up for the first 5 seconds or so, it ran really smooth. Then when it went onto warm idle, it started coughing and all that. Check the spark, it's got spark to all 4 cylinders. Then when I started disconnecting each injector cap, or plug, I noticed that that was having no difference to some of the cylinders, meaning they're dead cylinders. It also smelled like a 10-year-old lawnmower, and I realized that the fuel in this thing probably hasn't been changed for a while. So let's have a look and see what we can see. So to get the injector rail out of this for AGE, really easy. You've got 2 banjo fittings with the copper spacers on the tops and the bottom. So the smaller one goes to your manifold cold start injector, which is how I kind of diagnosed that this thing was starting all right, is because that one was fine, other ones weren't. And then you've got your fuel rail bolts. Disconnect your intake and return line, plug them up with a bolt so petrol doesn't go everywhere. And what do we got going on under here? Oh, this is all the injector housings which are falling out, so great. So I'm gonna have to chase all them down now. Okay, not to worry, 3 of them were just the retainers for the rail, which is a bolt hold the rail on, but what actually happened is the bloody O-rings for the injectors is fallen out, and as you can see here, that's definitely likely to cause some problems. So the fuel rail wasn't seated correctly and a couple of them are just squeezed out. And let's have a look at the injectors themselves. It's funny that number 1, number 2 looks okay, number 3 was another one that was giving me problems, and number 4 was fine. So that's telling me these ones are pretty grotty. So let's get the injectors off the rail. And as you can see, the fuel was definitely, ooh yeah, it's a good vintage, that one. That's a 2011 year cab sav. All the rubber seals that mount the injectors onto the rail were fine, the inner and outer O-rings. It was really just where they're sitting in here, which isn't as important, but still pretty bloody important. So at least the injectors were sealing into the rail. Cool, next step is to get some alligator clips, and if you don't have alligator clips like me, get some random wire, get a small connector that we're going to use to test, come on, focus, on there. And then you can hook it up to a 12 volt source, and I've also got one other end marked with positive, so I know what I'm doing, apparently. And a huge shout out to my mate Dan, who bought me a whole heap of STP bottles for my birthday a few months ago. We have the injector cleaner, which we're going to use in our ultrasonic cleaner, which I'll show you through that now. Okay, so we've got the ultrasonic cleaner now. One thing that a few people don't know, but a lot of people do, is that these things have to be full to work properly, otherwise you'll cook them. So if you don't want to use all the fluid, what you can do is you can put a beaker or a smaller container in there. This is just my 1 litre beaker that I use for measuring out sediments or sediment mixes, but this might be a little bit too big because I have to get the whole injector in there. So I might have a look around for something a little bit smaller, but you just put that in with just water in the rest of it, and that way it gives you something to float it in. Okie dokie, so we've got the temperature set to 65 degrees on the right's current temperature. Put it in for 10 minutes to start off with. I've got the injectors so that the injector's submerged, but the plug wires are hanging out, so they're dry. Got the battery there, and we've got the other ends of the cable. Had to put the fuel rail on top to hold the wires stable and also keep the beaker down. And obviously, because we've got flammable liquids everywhere, I've got the fire extinguisher at hand. So got them cooking away, and I noticed that there's little bubbles leaking out of the center of the injector, which is funny. I don't know what that really means, but I'm assuming they're supposed to be watertight, but hey, there you go. So just noticed that, and got the cables hooked up, and off we go. Okay, down to the last two injectors. Once again, got them submerged in the mixture, got the cables dry. I was blowing them out with air before I put power to it, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Hammer's just there to hold it down to the bottom, and you just go tap, tap, tap. If you're doing it professionally, you have this injector tester, which just cycles it continually, but I don't have one of them, so I did it the dodgy way and just kept on tapping the battery so it's got power, so it opens and closes the solenoid on the injector, so it obviously gets it clean inside. So the final step is to get a pressurized can of whatever. This is just throttle body air intake cleaner, should do, CRC, and then I've just run it so it's sealed into some fuel pipe. And then we're going to put it on there while we spray, and you can see if it's spraying clean or not. So just turn the can on and power on at the same time. It doesn't look like they're spraying clean here, but I can assure you they are. It's just because the can isn't giving enough fluid. So visually, yeah, they look cleaner from the outside as they should. As I said, we were power cycling them while they were in the cleaner, and then run some fluid through them just to make sure the spray pattern. Now in the video, the spray pattern didn't look really clean, but that's just because of the fact getting the timing right between putting the power on and off and keeping the spray going is a bit hard. And as you can see by what's left in there, yeah, definitely a lot of gunk that was in there. Again, the local shop on the corner saves the day, and they had some injector O-rings in stock, AE101s, and just bang, straight on, so perfect. Cool, so once you've got your O-rings back on, it's time to line up the fuel rail back into the head, and you can see where the light is there. You just want to make sure that you've got a good even seal around all four injectors, so none of them are kind of poking out or not sitting flush, and then you can tighten back up your 3 rail bolts. Another little one, when you're putting the 2 banjo bolts back onto the rail, one to feed the rail, the other one to feed the cold start injector, there's a little copper spacer on the inside and the outside, so make sure you got both those spacers, otherwise you'll leak fuel. Okay, got crankcase vents back on, fuel reg, return line, all the injector clips, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the good news, I guess, is it drank probably about 17 litres of go-go juice, so that's pretty good. So the tank, tiny little tank in these things, might have been getting a little bit empty. I threw a new fuel filter on, which isn't the right diameter. It's got to be this flavour, the 11/16, 11/19, or whatever it is, but it'll do for now. We have the fire extinguisher on standby. She's in neutral, and let's see if we get some magic. Okay, a moment of truth. Probably not going to turn it on accessories for a little bit. See if we can get some fuel pressure. Check for leaks. It's not going to have any fuel in the system, so definitely doesn't sound happy. Let's see if it evens out a bit. Okay, so we definitely don't have 4. Still got a bad miss. Checking for all the leaks. No leaks, which is good. We've got some complete fuel system cleaner, so let's give her a crack. There you go, girl. Drink her up. Now it does actually come good if you gently feed the throttle on. It just revs like normal. It's only if you plant the foot that it bogs. So guys, that's it for the episode. We took the fuel rail out of the car. We cleaned the injectors, ultrasonic cleaned them. We tested to make sure that they're all spraying. We changed the fuel filter. We put a new tank of gas in it. We put some fuel cleaner through the system. And then yeah, it's running. It's got all 4 cylinders definitely, and it's definitely got a way tons more pep than it's had before, which is good. When you put your foot flat down, it's bogging, which is probably telling me it's got a vacuum leak somewhere, so the air-fuel ratios aren't quite right. But that's going to be a job for another day, chase down all the vacuum leaks. But when the engine does rev, typical 4AGE red tops, it revs right out and it absolutely loves it. Kind of like an old school V8, tons of noise, not much power, but does kind of suit the car, so very happy. And the new Celica coilovers, even though they're sprung way too hard, the car does sit really, really stable on the road, and the brakes are really good too, 4-wheel disc brakes with really good pedal feel. So yeah, happy Ryan. Thanks for watching, guys. And do the like and subscribe thing or whatever.